Oh, and I'm just waiting for, I've started to record, so we're already recording because I don't want to forget to press record, but then we could edit it out as needed. I'm just waiting. I sent one to Amy, so I'm waiting for her. Oh, there she goes. You guys mind if I go first?
That's fine.
No.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I've started the broadcast. Let me. Okay. So the informative speech that I'm going to give is about how to prepare for a job interview. A job interview is one of the most intimidating interactions that you'd ever go through, and I currently had to go through it recently, so it was something that was really on top of my mind. The biggest mistake, and let me back up a little. I actually work in HR and I do recruiting and interviewing, and yet when it came to my turn, it was still intimidating to me. So one of the biggest mistakes someone could make is not to be prepared and not to practice. It's very important that you practice and be prepared and try to anticipate as much as possible when you're doing a job interview. So practicing and being prepared is actually could make the decision if you're going to get an offer or if you're going to get rejected. The first thing that's very important to do is research. Do your research on the company. I cannot stress that. I can't stress that enough. As a recruiter, when I interview someone, I do like to hear that they've done some research, they know a little bit about the company, look at their background, just the profiles, just something to spur up that conversation to say that you know something about the company. Talk to friends, contacts, even check news releases depending on the company. Something that lets them know you've looked into the company. Even if you've looked into the company and you see nothing, you don't even see an internet site. The company, I recently went on an interview, and the company I interviewed with, they don't even have a website. So that's a good conversation as well, because it does show that you did the research and you found that they didn't have a website. So definitely do your research on the company before you go in for that interview. Dress accordingly. Even if it's for a position that's not a professional dress, dress professionally. Even if it's a position where you use jeans, still dress accordingly. And don't forget, even for the men, manicure, make sure your nails are well cut, your shoes are shined. You wouldn't believe how when an interviewer is sitting on the opposite side, they're sometimes not even listening to your words, they're watching your appearance. And you could be the perfect person for that position, and just something just sets them off the wrong way, and it could be your nails, it could be the jewelry you wear, so any little thing. So just be very conscious of how you look, with also how you present yourself. One of the most important things is anticipate. There's typical interview questions. You could find them on the internet. Try to anticipate as much as you can on what you're going to be asked. Some of the, not only knowing your skills and your accomplishments, some of the main questions is tell me about yourself. And a lot of people, when I used to do interviewing, a lot of people would tell me about their personal life, their kids, the interviewer doesn't want to hear that. They want to hear a brief, a small brief summary of what can you offer me, and then try to lead your way into the interview. When an interviewer asks, what's your biggest weakness? They don't want to know that you have a weakness. They want to know that you were challenged on something, but you overcame it. So, for example, one of the things I like to say is that I like to I like to do training. And one of the things I always try to do is try to be a better trainer, try to take more classes, try to volunteer to do training in the company to try to enhance my experience. So they always want to look at your weakness as a positive and what you've done to make it better. What interests you about the position? They want to know that you can say, I'm the best candidate. No, why are you the best candidate? So these are typical questions that they'll ask. Why should I hire you? So they want things to make you stand out from all of the rest of the candidates. And there's typical questions that they'll ask, and just one little response would be your if you nail the position or not. A good thing to do is practice. Practice with a friend in front of a mirror. Google Hangout. This is a great way to practice too. Do some interview questions and go ahead and play some role playing to practice. Um, so finally, prepare yourself. Practice. Do the research on your company. If you're well informed when you walk in and you provide good, solid answers, it may not be the right answer that the interviewer is looking for. However, if it's strong, and even if you have to oppose something they're saying, say, oh no, this is the way I did it. If they see that you did your research, you followed through, and you gave them a strong interview, they'll respect your disagreement with them. So if you're prepared and you practice and do the research, you'll be able to have edge on the rest of the people that's interviewing. So I just went through this, like I said, and I was very surprised of how intimidated I felt. And I've recruited in the past, so I know all this. But when you're on the other side of the chair, sometimes it is intimidating. So that's just my advice to anyone that's interviewing. And we're all in school. We're all actively trying to seek different careers. So it's always good to check yourself a little bit before you go out. Even if it's the perfect job, just practice a little. So that'll help you. Okay, thank you.
Do you guys mind if I go next?
No.
Go ahead.
Thanks. I'm at work, so I only have a few minutes.
Oh, okay. Thank you for doing that, though, because I know this was like a nightmare to schedule.
Yeah, I just got called in at 7, so I just got here at 7, but I can do this, and I'll be able to watch the rest of it from my car, so we should be good.
Okay. All right.
All right. If your experience has been like mine, when you go to get your oil changed, which should be a 30-minute process and $15-20 in cost, turns into a lot of high pressure sales tactics and trying to sell you on stuff that you probably don't need. They'll bring out the dirty air filter, tell you at 30%, whatever. Avoid that. What I started doing was changing my own oil. And once you kind of learn the basics of that, it really alleviates those high pressure situations where you kind of feel compelled to spend more money than you intended on when you went in there. So the first thing you need to know about changing your oil is there's a couple different types of motor oil you can get for your vehicle, and basically your use is going to decide that for you. There's synthetic, which is your high-end oil. Great, but not really necessary down here. We don't really have the conditions or the use. You're just using your vehicle for everyday commuting. And then you have like a blended synthetic oil, which is the better route to go. It's good for heavy loads, if you tow boats or it's in an RV or anything like that. But it is a little bit pricey. And then you have your more conventional, which is fine for the routine driver that's just going to and from work or school, and stuff like that. So once you've selected your oil, the first thing you want to do is start your car up in the driveway or wherever you're going to do this, and run the engine for a few minutes to get the oil warm. And be careful when you do start working with the oil that it's not too hot. Don't leave your car running for 30 minutes or an hour, but 5 minutes usually warms the oil up enough to make it a little bit more drain a little easier. So once you have the oil warmed up, you can jack up the vehicle. If you haven't ever done that before, it is pretty simple. You just kind of got to learn specifically on your vehicle where to place the jacks. And if you haven't done it, you're not comfortable with it, it is easy. So just have a friend or somebody come over and help you out, look in your owner's manual, and that information is in there. Once you get the vehicle jacked up, make sure you have it in park, turn the ignition off, put the parking brake on. And the next step is to actually get underneath the car and locate the and the oil drain. So once you've found that, you're going to need something to collect the oil in. You can use anything. They make specific oil pans that should be able to handle anybody's car, and they're pretty cheap, and that seems to be the best way. They're a little bit easier to dispose of later. So once you locate the oil plug underneath, you can slide the pan under there. When you pull the oil plug, though, you're going to want to go to the engine compartment under the hood and release the pressure on the cap there. So open up the oil cap. Very easy to find when you open the hood. It's got a little oil symbol, and it usually says oil right on there. So unscrew that and then get back underneath the car, pull the plug out, and now you just have to be patient. It does take a few minutes for the oil to drain out, but you'll see it, it comes out pretty quickly. So once you've got all the oil out of there, your tire for oil, you're going to buy an oil filter too. It's just recommended, like changing oil, that you're going to change your oil filter also. Pretty inexpensive when you do it yourself. So next to the oil pan underneath the car, you'll see the oil filter. It unscrews. Some cars need a special tool. In my experience, I've been able to do it just with my hand. So you pull that out, locate, it's just a little circular filter. So take that old one out, put the new one in, and you just want to lubricate the top of it with a little bit of oil before you put it back in there. Screw that back in. Once you got the oil filter back in there, replace the plug up underneath the car, and it's time to add the oil back into the car. So unscrew the how many different containers of oil your car without spilling any, but just be careful. Maybe set up some paper towels, ready to clean up any spills. So once you fill the car back up with oil, check your put your cover back on under the hood, make sure everything is working well, start the car up, check for any leaks, and if everything looks good, that's it. It should save you some money and those pressure situations that we usually find when we go to get service on our cars. Thank you.
May I go next? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear anything.
They still
Okay.
have muted, so yeah, you can go next.
Yeah, clear? Yep.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. I'm gonna talk about downloading counterfeit software. Well, fantasy author Scott Lynch once said that piracy is a bit like drinking. You want to stay out all night doing it, but you pay the price the next day. And I can affirm that's true. One of the reasons I am studying computer science is because of the many things that we can perform online. Like now, we are a virtual group, like it described in chapter 9. One of the things I enjoyed the most was downloading counterfeit software off the internet. It may sound fun, however, the outcomes are not always positive. Tonight, I will tell you 3 main risks from downloading counterfeit software from the internet. The risk of irreparable damage to your system, the installation of hacking tools, and facing fines and even jail time. Now, you guys may wonder how a system could seriously damage your computer. Well, this happens because softwares are modified by hackers who are skilled computer programmers. Because, well, they modify the software in order to bypass security layers. Because these modifications are not performed by the original developer of this program, some incompatibilities may arise, causing system instabilities and, in worst cases, a total system crash. Now, if this happens, the only way to fix that is by reinstalling the whole operational system, causing the loss of important documents and information saved in your computer. Now let's move on to the next risk, which is the installation of hacking tools. As I mentioned before, softwares are handled and modified by hackers. They can also hide little tiny hacking tools between the software files. Once the software is launched, these tools are executed allowing the hacker to get fully access of your computer. Now, this could be very important to know because it could mean the disclosure of important personal and financial information. Now, my advice, if you still decide to downloading media off the internet, is keeping up to date your antivirus software and performing a full system scan at least once a week. Okay, so now let's move on to the final risk, which is probably the most realistic one, facing forfeits and even jail time. Let me just show you something here. This is Rocky Aupreset. I think hopefully I pronounced it right, from Charlotte. According to the Washington Post, he's facing 3 years in jail and over $50,000 in forfeits for downloading copyright media off the internet. I personally received a letter from my internet service provider 2 years ago asking me to stop downloading copyright material off the internet. Otherwise, they will shut down my service and also report me to the FBI. Now, let me show you something too. You guys may have seen this. This is the FBI anti-piracy warning, mostly seen on video media. Well, down here it says the penalties. It says 5 years in prison and $250,000 in fines. Then once I knew that, I just decided to stop everything. Well, downloading counterfeit software off the internet may sound fun. However, the risk of seriously damage your computer, installing hacking tools, also known as viruses, in your system and facing forfeits and even jail time may discourage you from doing it. Over 70,000 jobs are lost in the United States every year due to piracy. Perhaps someday it could happen to you or to me. Thank you. Can you guys hear me? I'm sorry because I cannot. I mean, I have very.
Yeah, we can hear you. Everyone just.
Yeah, and you guys see me in the main screen too?
Yeah.
Because the only thing I saw was I didn't see myself. I saw cameras.
I'm recording it, so I'm recording it, and as I record, I highlight the person talking.
Oh, so I was on the main screen.
Yeah, you were on the main screen while you were.
Thank you.
While you were talking.
I was kind of worried. Yes, thank you. All right.
No problem. So I'm making sure. So who wants to go? Haley, Amy?
I'll go.
Okay. So see, I put Haley up now. I don't know what you guys see on your end.
All right. So my speech is going to be informing you guys about twins because I'm an identical twin. She's actually enrolled in this class too, and I feel like a lot of people don't actually know about twins, so I'm going to teach you guys. Has anyone ever wondered what it was like being a twin? Yeah or no? Yeah. I'm sure some of you may have. But so just to answer some common questions about twins, no, we can't feel each other's pain or read each other's minds, but we are closer than typical siblings. Like when you hear about like a special twin bond, like it's a real thing. It's not a joke. It's, you know, it's just having a very close relationship with your twin. It's pretty interesting. So there are a couple different types of twins. It's not just a twin. There's 3 different types. We have identical, fraternal, and then unusual types of twins. The first type I'm going to go into is identical. The odds of having an identical twin is 3 in 1,000, which are pretty slim odds. So it's pretty cool that me and Hannah get to be a part of that. How it works is the fertilized egg divides into 2 embryos. And because of that, identical twins have the same DNA and are the same gender. Of course, the DNA over time changes slightly, but initially it's the same DNA. The causes of being an identical twin, or what causes it to happen, is not identified. It's just by chance. So it could happen to anyone, really. Some different types of identical twins, you can be mirror twins. That means you look just like your identical twin, but they're like a mirror image of you. So they might have a birthmark on one side of your body, they have it on the opposite. You might have, you know, a freckle on one side, it's on the opposite side of them. Another type of identical twins you guys probably have heard of before are conjoined twins. That's just like it does. The fertilized egg should divide into 2 embryos, but it doesn't completely, hence why you have the conjoined twins. Now, being an identical twin, I definitely know and have the most experience about that, but there are other types out there that you guys may not have even heard of. The next type I'm going to talk about are fraternal twins. They're also called dizygotic twins. These are twice as common as identical twins, and it can be hereditary. So say, you know, your mom has, or yeah, your mom had fraternal twins in her family. Your chances of having fraternal twins are greater because it is hereditary, like I said. This type, it's 2 different eggs fertilized by 2 different sperm cells, so it's not the splitting of just one. So because of that, the DNA isn't identical. It's just like having a brother or sister. Similar DNA, but again, not identical. Like I said, it can be hereditary, but fraternal twins can also be caused by certain fertility drugs and in vitro fertilization. So that's pretty interesting. If anybody doesn't have kids and wanted to have fraternal twins, it is definitely possible. Identical and fraternal twins are the most common types of twins, but like I said, there are other types out there. It's not just limited to those 2 types. Another type, or unusual type of twins, would be half-identical twins. So just like the name sounds, they're half identical. The egg splits before fertilization, and each half receives a separate sperm, so they only share half of their genes. So they look similar. They have features of identical and fraternal twins. So it's not just one, it's kind of a mix of both. The next type is called mixed chromosome twins. This happens when 2 separate sperms fertilize 2 separate eggs, and then they fuse. Some are identified to have more than one distinct red blood cell type, and individuals who are both female and male. So just like it sounds, a hermaphrodite, which is interesting because, you know, I didn't know that could be caused, you know, just by fertilization or happen in twins altogether. So it's pretty interesting. This type of twins, mixed chromosome, they inherit the same genes from the mother, but different genes from the father. That's why they're called mixed chromosome twins. Another type of twinning, you could say, is called superfecundation. These are twins with different fathers. So it's the fertilization of 2 or more ova from the same cycle by sperm from separate acts of sexual intercourse, which is also pretty interesting. That could even happen. Like, your twins coming out of the same womb, but you have different fathers. It's pretty interesting. The last type, or unusual type of twins that I'm going to go into today, is called superfetation. This is the occurrence of another conception when a woman's already pregnant. So your twins could be different ages because one's fertilized, could be weeks, could be a month, who knows how long or so far after the first one, and they come out at different times. So yes, they're twins because they were in the womb together, but they're different ages, which is definitely interesting. So despite twins having a reputation of being exactly the same in every single way, they're not. The formation and such of each type are extremely unique and very different. So the next time you guys meet twins, instead of just asking them the typical questions like, are you twins? Can you feel each other's pain? Read each other's mind? Try and go a little bit more in depth. That way, because you guys know, I just informed you about what twins really are and the different types. And that is it.
Okay, that was interesting.
So, thanks.
Okay, Amy.
Okay.
Okay.
Is everybody
Amy,
ready?
can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay. How many of you can honestly say that you've never forgotten a due date for an assignment before? Probably not all of you. It's often very difficult to juggle between working and school, which is why an agenda or a planner, such as this one, is a very good idea. This little thing right here has helped me since the beginning of high school with juggling between working, school, and activities, because we all have a life besides school and working. For starters, I actually color coordinate everything. So I do red for all my homework assignments. I can show you. There's red for homework assignments and due dates and studying time. And then I also do my work schedule, which is in black. So it makes it easier to see whenever I have some free time, like to schedule speeches and such. And then I do purple for like extra activities and stuff like that. So who should use an agenda? Pretty much anybody can use an agenda because it benefits everyone. And it's hard sometimes to schedule yourself between, like I said, work and school and other activities. Some people have families, and it's hard. So, like I said, I lost my thing. Oh, what happened? What happened? Hello?
We can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh, my screen went blank.
You can still talk. I can hear you. I think you just hung up.
I think she got out of it.
You want to give her a few minutes? Let's see if she comes back on.
Is she offline now?
And I'm telling her to come back on. Let me see if I can send it back to her.
If she invites us, we can't record it, right?
Yeah, I just sent her another invite to see. The same way I did before, so she should be able to see it.
Cameron, are you a police officer?
What happened?
Can you tell, Cameron? Can you hear us?
I don't think he
I don't
can.
know if he has it, but I've seen the gun and everything. I think he's
That's
in
pretty
his patrol.
cool, right? Like,
I think he's in his patrol car.
that's so cool.
I think that's so interesting. Okay, I think she's trying to get back on. I don't think Cameron can hear us. He probably has to have it mute. I think he's driving. Do you see that?
Yeah, I was just gonna say he might be driving.
So if we see any action happen. All right, Amy, you can
I'm
continue.
sorry. What happened?
You shut us off, I think. Even
It
if you,
went blank.
even if you see it go blank, just ask us. We can hear you, and then it'll probably, maybe your computer bandwidth or something is happening. It'll come back on.
Okay. I guess. Let me start over.
I don't know if you want to. You could start over, or you could continue and then cut, and you could join your.
Okay.
Up to you.
I'll just start over because I don't really know what happened. Okay. Let me start over. I'm sorry. How many of you can honestly say that you've never forgotten an assignment for school or work or any type of thing? It's often hard to juggle between work and school and other activities because we all have a life outside of school and work. Scheduling yourself can be a job on its own. This little thing right here is pretty much my life, all in a book, on paper. It's saved me since the beginning of high school. I write everything down, all my notes, all my schedules, everything. For starters, an agenda can help you schedule and organize everything in your life. It'll help you prevent forgetting due dates or appointments that you may have made, or even your work schedule. So for starters, I have all my homework assignments and study times and due dates written in red, as you can see, which allows me to easily see the important things that need to be done. Also, tests and stuff like that, I like to highlight, so I definitely don't forget those. Secondly, I write all my work schedule in black because you can't forget to show up on time for work. How many of you have forgotten what time you're supposed to be at work because you're just trying to hurry up and finish that last homework assignment? So black is used for that, as you can see. And lastly, it's important, like I said, to have a balance between your social life and your school and your work. So I write everything that has to do with social life in purple to differentiate everything. Now, all of us can use a planner. It just depends on how you'd like to do it. There's many different ways. There's a lot of information online that shows how effective a planner could be for anyone, any age, whether you're in elementary school or you're an older person. It just helps balance your life out very easily. And like I said, you can use different colors and highlighters, and it can be fun and creative.
Okay, I'll do the same thing, and I'll share the video, and then everyone will edit it.
Thanks, Shakira.
All right,
Thank
no
you.
problem. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you.